I'm Bambi Francisco with Vader News. In the startup world, making money is often an elusive endeavor, but not with this company, Jigsaw. The provider of business contacts has seen revenue double every year for the past 4, and it's been profitable for the past 3 quarters. Joining me to talk about Jigsaw is Jim Fowler, Jigsaw's founder and CEO. Jim, thanks for joining me.
It's my pleasure, Bambi.
Your company is, as I look at it, is user-generated business director, and you're really trying to improve the way business contacts are maintained. Maybe you should elaborate on that. Is that a fair assessment?
It is. It's actually company and contact data. If you really think about the foundation stones of every B2B database, it really starts with basic core company records and basic business card records. And these are the 2 records that every company that sells B2B has to use in order to drive growth of their business.
And you have said that you want to do for data what Salesforce did for software. What does that mean?
The basic idea is that every company has to use data in order to grow. And if you think about back in 1999, every company that needed CRM software, and this, of course, the SaaS model has been applied to many different applications, but I think Salesforce really was the leader of this. In 99, 10 years ago, everyone who wanted a CRM application had to go out and procure and manage the software to run this application. Well, today, 10 years later, every company that sells B2B, they have to go out and spend a lot of time procuring and managing this company and contact data. They go buy lists. Their salespeople and support folks have to work within their CRM solution to try to maintain this data, and it's just not a core competency. Right. So for us, what we have is a community of almost 1 million people that builds and maintains this directory of company and contact data. And then we sell not only the raw data from a procurement standpoint, but automatically take our database and update, manage, and maintain their records on the back end. So it's, in essence, getting companies out of the business of procuring and managing these data records and turn it into a service, just like we're turning the data business into a service, just like software has been turned into a service. Right.
But your innovation really is also in the way that the content is created by essentially giving access to content information to someone for, in turn, they need to give information as well. They need to get contact information as well.
Exactly. So those we have almost 1 million people that are now registered members of Jigsaw. And in essence, it's an information exchange. They'll come in and exchange information that they have for information that they need. So you can come in and add a company or contact record. You can update them. You can graveyard them, meaning the company's out of business or the person's no longer there.
Right.
All of this is very important from a status perspective because people that sell, market, and recruit need to know what companies are out there, what people are there, so that they can go affect a business relationship.
Now, I know I read an interview with you. It says that legally there are no issues with regards to people uploading. For instance, I could upload my entire contact base, contact list. But has there been a backlash from people, because that their information is being uploaded to your site?
I wouldn't call it a backlash, but let's make no mistake about it. Privacy is a very, very important thing. What we've done to mitigate it is, first of all, anyone who wants to be removed from the Jigsaw database at a business card level can be removed automatically.
But not easily?
No, it's very easy now.
Okay.
I will say that we've made it easier over time.
Okay.
The second thing, most people, though, interestingly, choose not to be removed. And we do 2 things. Number one is we only touch business information, minus a mobile number. So mobile numbers are not allowed on Jigsaw, and no non-business information of any kind. So for instance, some people will get irritated because they want to be on the directory, but they have a Gmail or a Hotmail email address, which we don't allow on Jigsaw because we can't identify it or connect it to a company that's doing business on the web.
You have 1 million members, you said, right? So what percentage of those members pay a subscription, and what percentage?
A huge percentage are free.
Okay.
And
so they're uploading.
Exactly. Their job in life is to upload and, more importantly, manage or clean the data. So it's a system of credits. For every contact that you add, you get a contact in return. For every contact that you update, you get a contact in return. For every contact that you graveyard, you get a contact in return, if that makes sense. And so by that way, the database gets built and maintained.
Right.
So the individuals come in and exchange data. We make our money. We have over 1,000 enterprise customers that we sell access to the database to when we also clean their databases.
When you said it's a large percentage of the million that are actually uploading content, what percentage is that?
Of the million, it's about 95%.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Exactly, and they're individuals.
So if you think about what percentage of the people who have created all the all the information, for instance, in Wikipedia, I believe it's 1.5% created 2/3 of the information. What is it on Jigsaw?
It's actually Wikipedia's. We've done a lot of studying on Wikipedia, and it's what we call the 99-1 rule of community. 90% of the people come in and just consume. So for us, 90% just come in and get the data that's on Jigsaw for free. So for instance, all of our company data is open source.
They don't even have to exchange any data.
No, our company records are open source to the point we have almost 3 million company records on Jigsaw. Anyone can come and download all of our company records literally for free. It's open source. They can also do lots of other research. We have company wikis where marketers will come in and put wikis about their companies, et cetera. It's all free and open source. It's only when you want the actual business card that you have to have these points to do it. Okay. And so many of our members will come in and do that for free. So the 99-1 rule is 90% just come in and consume. They do nothing. 9% of the million will do a little bit of work, and 1% do
all of it.
Huge amounts of work, and we're very similar.
How accurate is this information? I was worried that it's going to be an old email or an old phone number.
Sure. So the number one problem with any kind of data is that it goes bad quickly. And especially in this environment where there's a lot of unemployment, a lot of people are changing jobs, et cetera, the rate of change of the data is extremely rapid and dynamic. And that's really why Jigsaw was founded, because when I was a VP of sales at 3 different startups here in the Valley before founding Jigsaw, and even back in those days, I was so frustrated with how much time my salespeople would spend just trying to find the right people at a company, and any data you got was incomplete. You didn't have an email or a phone number for them. And my thought was, well, how do you solve the problem? Because the traditional data companies solve the problem in a very closed and proprietary way. I'm going to go employ a bunch of people to make phone calls and try to do this. And what you'd have is they just couldn't do that cost effectively. So the thought was, well, how do you get a whole bunch of people to bring a few pieces of the puzzle to the dance and assemble it for the good of everyone?
And so how do you ensure that it's accurate?
So what we do is there's penalties for putting bad data on. And what you do is quickly get locked. In fact, what's interesting about our database is that our members own this data just as much as we do. In fact, no one legally can own this data. It's not copyrightable. It's not trade secretable. You have to register.
So somebody uploads a bunch of bad contact information and someone comes in and puts it in the graveyard, maybe that's it. And so you've sort of made that connection that person's not providing accurate information. Jigsaw is an excellent resource for getting information. I told you I've used it. But you could also use, I guess, LinkedIn to find other people. And I'd imagine people would use both.
Sure.
But one should be more effective in trying to find certain people, and one should be useful for another, as another source. So how would you position yourself against LinkedIn? What are you good for, and what are they better for?
Well, LinkedIn is an unbelievable company. You just have to bow down before what those guys have accomplished. It's really amazing. What LinkedIn really is what it gets a lot of press for is the ability to connect people.
Sure.
And there's no question that being able to connect with people is very valuable. The problem you've got from a sales perspective, specifically when you use LinkedIn, is that I'm a salesperson. It's very difficult to go get connected to people when you're a salesperson. People just don't want to get connected to salespeople.
So as a sales tool, this is definitely Jigsaw is the way to go.
Every record on Jigsaw is a direct dial. Recruiters use Jigsaw and LinkedIn, and what LinkedIn does that we don't do is profile information. Right. So basically, it's a gigantic resume posting service in the sky. I mean, it's perfectly acceptable to go post your resume.
So Jigsaw is a great place for people who don't, for people who are typically not the type of people that other people want to connect with. Salespeople.
Well, I guess I'm using an analogy in that it's hard to use LinkedIn for sales, pure sales. It's harder. You have to go through InMail, et cetera, et cetera. What salespeople do use it for is the background information. So, for instance, on Jigsaw, every one of our records is a business card. There's a LinkedIn link at the bottom of that where you can literally go look up their profile on LinkedIn. We don't have profile information on Jigsaw.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up here, Jim. We're going to have you back again for a couple more interviews. So thanks for sticking around. I've been speaking with Jim Fowler. He's Jigsaw's CEO and founder. I'm Bambi Francisco.